Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to TOC Asia 2023 here in wonderful Singapore. This is actually our 7th time here in Singapore with TOC Asia since the brand was born some 24 years ago. Personally speaking, I have to say that of all of our global events, this is the one I most look forward to. So once again, welcome everybody. As ever, we have a fantastic event lined up for you, with over 40 speakers for you to hear from. A great balance of both international and Southeast Asian expertise. I'd like to thank all of the speakers in advance for giving up your valuable time to share with us your insights and knowledge. If I may gently remind you, please do try to keep to your allotted times so we can keep the programme on track. Thank you very much. And to the lovely audience, please do not be shy. Ask as many questions as you can to help stimulate the debate. It makes the sessions more interactive, more valuable, so yeah, just go for it. Speaking now directly to the exhibitors and sponsors, thank you so much for your support. Some of you follow us across multiple regions, and this doesn't go unnoticed. Much appreciated. Special thanks to DP World for recently becoming our global port partner. Please do visit their stand in the exhibition hall. It's very impressive indeed. And thanks also to PSA for your continued support and for making us welcome here in Singapore year after year. For my special mention for Mr. Tan Chong Nen, who has delivered some unbelievable speeches here at TOC Asia. As it's the last TOC Asia before he moves on to the next phase of his journey, on behalf of TOC, I'd like to wish him all the health and happiness and thank him for the many insightful presentations that he has shared with us over the years, and we hope that our paths cross soon. Now, a few housekeeping remarks before we begin. Please turn off your mobile phones or put them on silent during the sessions to avoid distracting the speakers. Coffee and tea will be served at designated times in the exhibition hall, which is behind you, across the corridor over there by registration. Lunch for delegate speakers and sponsors and exhibitors is next door, to my right, over here. And there is an evening reception this evening at 6 p.m. at the Garden Walk, which is pretty much over here. Everything's really quite close to each other, difficult to miss. Everyone welcome, come along for a drink after a hard day at the office. And please, very importantly, download the app. It's a new app that we have developed this year. It actually works, it's really good, usually. And you can use it to reach out to other attendees, you can message speakers, you can schedule sessions. It's actually, yeah, totally worth the effort. Just scan the QR code on the signage outside, and away you go. It's called TOC Go if you want to search for it. And if you could try your best to turn up to the sessions 5 minutes beforehand, at least on time, please, throughout the conference. It just helps the flow of the conference and to keep the programme on time. Finally, forgive me, but I'd just like to publicly thank the TOC team for working so hard to deliver this event. It's actually our 4th TOC in 5 months. Well done, everyone, and thank you. Now, to begin the proceedings, I'd like to introduce to you our opening speaker and our moderator. Firstly, a warm welcome to Dr. Rama, Group Senior Vice President, Port and Terminal Systems, Group Technology, DP World. Dr. Rama is an expert in multiple areas, including IoT and digital twin technology. He has dedicated his career to ensure his knowledge of technology is transferred into substantial benefits for terminals, not least improving their productivity and performance. Currently, he is steering the modernisation of ports and terminals at DP World. So welcome, Dr. Rama, thanks for joining us. Our moderator today is Mr. Alan Murphy, a long-term friend of TOC, been to one or two over the years. Co-founder of C Intel, now known as C Intelligence. He's deeply passionate liner shipping expert with 20 years experience of container shipping research and analysis. This includes quantitative research, econometric modelling and database architecture. Prior to this role, Alan worked for Maersk in the Copenhagen Business School. So again, Alan, welcome and thank you for joining us. And if I could invite both gentlemen to join me on stage to begin the opening session. A round of applause please for our speakers.
Thanks everybody. Thanks Alan, thanks Paul. The maritime industry has experienced significant change in recent years, propelled by technological advancements, growing environmental awareness and increasing global trade and logistics requirements. This transformation covers several crucial elements, including integrating intelligent maritime solutions, improvements in security measures, sustainability initiatives, developing port infrastructure, and automation and collaboration activities. It's equally important to recognize and explore the challenges and potential opportunities arising from this ongoing journey, both in Asia and globally. Yesterday I had a conversation with the team, colleagues here, so I explained an example like this, the shipping business, it's I think 1,000 years, 3,000, 4,000 years, while you can say air cargo only lasts 50 years, but they are more advanced than an example like shipping lines. But we noticed last 5 years, those shipping lines, terminal operators, they spent like massive amounts just to be like beyond or even air cargo. So, intelligent maritime solutions. The maritime industry is witnessing a revolutionary transformation by integrating cutting-edge technologies, including the IoT, AI, and advanced data analytics. So imagine you have IoT, you have AI, and you have advanced data analytics under one umbrella. This integration has led to modern visits equipped with intelligent sensors and systems that continue to gather and transmit real-time data. These advancements have significantly improved maritime logistics safety measures, operational efficiency, and decision-making processes. By using the power of these technologies, the industry is experiencing unprecedented advancements and gathering the benefits of data-driven insight. So an example, in DP4 we have these four main examples. Like these four, some of many examples. An example, Jebel Ali Digital Twin, Busan AI, AI TVs, and TOC. Today morning I got young, so I remember in 2021 I presented our digital twin, if you remember. I think 2021 or 2022, 2020. Yeah, 2021. So our digital twin in Jebel Ali, it's live now. Also at the same time, our digital twin here in Asia Pacific, it's live in Batangas and soon some other terminals. So we are using this digital twin technology for, you can say, like many reasons and in many areas, such as an example like preventive maintenance, and the data. So today, an example like the data, you can say, is the goal in this industry. In Busan, Busan terminal is the first in the DP world network to fully implement AI systems into how terminals operate. AITVs, this autonomous internal terminal vehicles, it's in Jebel Ali. And TOS Plus is one of the products developed by our Zodiac entity. Zodiac entity is the technology department or entity, you can say, it's separate or subsidiary to DP World, focusing mostly on the technology for the ports and terminals. Security and safety enhancements. Security is a principle in the maritime sector, as it faces various risks such as piracy, terrorism, and illegal smuggling. The industry has implemented advanced systems, biometric authentication measures. These measures play a crucial role in protecting vessels, ports, and critical shipping routes, ensuring the integrity of global maritime trade. An example, in P&O Maritime Logistics teams, a new artificial intelligence safety assistant supports the health and safety of employees at sea with immediate responses for life-saving protocols. Also, at the same time, we have something similar in dry docks in Dubai. We are going to the phase 2, which is wearable devices, and an example, we could monitor the status of the health of the employees. Sustainability initiatives. I think since last 2 years, this you can say sustainability became kind of trend. As environmental awareness continues to rise, the maritime industry is under increasing pressure to reduce carbon emissions. In response, cleaner thrust technologies such as liquefied natural gas and electric propulsion systems have significantly increased. Furthermore, strict emissions regulations drive ship owner and operator to embrace sustainable practices and explore alternative fuel sources. These initiatives align the industry with broader sustainability objectives and contribute to reducing its environmental impact. By prioritizing cleaner technologies and embracing sustainable practices, the maritime sector is actively working towards a greener and more environmentally future. This one, here we have two examples. One of the examples is in our Busan terminal. In our Busan terminal, we are shifting from diesel to testing electric vehicles across the Asia Pacific. We are introducing a new generating of hybrid electric shuttle carriers that consume 20% less fuel than traditional models and can be fully charged in just 6 minutes. While in DP World San Antonio and Lerick Panchili are the first ports in South America to run 100% renewable energy. Port infrastructure and automation. Maritime hubs, including ports and terminals, are making significant investments to modernize their infrastructure and automate operations to manage the increasing volume of global trade effectively through the implementation of automated container handling, intelligent cargo tracking systems, as we were talking about it yesterday, and streamlined logistics processes. Ports are undergoing a transformative shift, becoming agile and competitive hubs. These advancements enable more efficient and seamless handling of goods, enhancing maritime hubs' overall productivity and competitiveness in the global trade landscape. So here some examples. In 2022, we completed the implementation of Cargo's TOC Plus, which is developed by our subsidiary company, Zodiac, in Batangas, using AI technology in autogate systems. So the Batangas was our first terminal. Now we are implementing the same solution in our all other terminals within the group. Collaborative efforts. The rapid advancement of intelligent, secure, and sustainable maritime hubs relies heavily on effective collaboration among industry stakeholders, governments, and international organizations. Through joint initiatives, efforts are being made to establish industry standards, regulations, and best practices, facilitating a smooth transition into this new era of maritime operations. This collaboration approach ensures that all relevant parties work together to define and implement measures that promote innovation, security, and sustainability within the maritime industry. Some examples, yes. As a part of a strategic partnership with Indonesia Investment Authority and the Indonesian government-owned port operator, Pelindo, DP World announced that it will commence management and operations of Palawan Container Terminal by the end of 2023. Also at the same time, DP World Maspion, Istiawa, a joint venture company between DP World and the Indonesian Maspion Group, will operate a modern international container terminal in East Java. Gresik in Indonesia with a design capacity of up to 3 million TEUs. Challenge. Many people they ask me what are the challenges we are facing. Very simple, cost and people. I think every year they are asking to reduce the cost and generate revenues by reducing the cost. So while there have been promising developments in the maritime industry, challenges persist. Adopting advanced technologies come with substantial costs, requiring significant investments from industry stakeholders. Moreover, there is a pressing need for a skilled workforce capable of operating and maintaining these advanced systems. Addressing these challenges will be crucial to fully harnessing the potential benefits of technological advancements and ensuring the sustainable growth of the maritime industry. In DP World, the near total automation of DP World ATI Batangas, Philippines, and the use of digital twin increased key crane movements by 3.1 movement an hour within just 23 days. This was the first project. Today, we have more improvements. The conclusion, the maritime industry is in the midst of a rapid and transformative journey towards becoming more intelligent, secure, and sustainable. This transformation is not solely driven by technical advancements, but it's but is also underpinned by the urgent need to safeguard the environment and ensure the smooth flow of global trade. Development of talent is also critical for the continued success of the terminal industry. With these efforts, we anticipate maritime hubs will be safer, more efficient, and more environmentally friendly. Thank you.
Dr. Ahmed, thank you so very much for that presentation, and thank you for joining us here at the TOC Asia. I should also, for the benefit of the audience, can anyone hear me?
We can't hear you, Alan.
You can't hear me then. Okay.
There we go. Okay, that was a quick IQ test for the whole audience and myself. Microphones need to be turned on first here. Dr. Rama, first and foremost, thank you so very much for your presentation and for joining us here at TOC Asia. I should also let you know, I very strongly encourage any questions from the floor. I have a couple of questions that I personally would like to ask Dr. Rama, but please do not hesitate. Matteo, we have people ready with microphones. If you have questions, should they just raise their hand or should they come to the front? Yeah, if you raise your hand, I'm going to try and leave as much at the end, but if you have very time-critical questions, do please raise your hand. I would very much love to hear your questions. But again, thank you so much for your presentation. And thank you very much. We had a very pleasant conversation last night, and I'm hoping that we can expand upon that a little bit today. The first thing I would like to, and I should also say that I've discussed with Dr. Ahmed that I'm going to be asking him questions as a representative of a terminal operator industry, because we want to hear what's going on the terminal operator side, but obviously a lot of your questions will be answered on the scope and from the perspective of DP World. But to put it very, very basically, and a little too simplistic, traditionally the view has been that the Port Authority is the landlord. They own the land, they're often a government entity. They effectively hire a contractor and the terminal operator who has the responsibility of bringing in the shipping lines and making sure that the cargo comes off the vessels and hopefully at some point makes it out the gate. That's the very basic fundamental roles of port authorities and terminal operators. But how do you see those roles have evolved beyond those like core requirements over the last decade? And what do you see the role of both a terminal operator and a successful port authority over the next 10 or 20 years? What are the roles, what are the supporting functions that they have to the industry in a wider perspective?
Yeah, thank you, thanks a lot. So, to be honest, in Dubai we are lucky that like Port Authority and terminal operator, by the way, are the same umbrella. So, we are lucky in Dubai. But an example, other terminal operators and our business, for example, like outside of Dubai, yes, there is a challenge. And but at the same time, you can say like, you know, they are authority. They are an example like announcing the rules. Plus, at the same time, like you have to believe they are our partners. You know, like, they are our partners. So, what is good an example for this country? Maybe it won't work in different countries. So that's why, like, those an example, like the regulations in different countries, like totally different from place to place. But at the end, you know, they are looking always for the benefit of those, for example, countries or their countries. So that's it. Like,
So with the role, of course, DP World being both a port authority and a terminal operator, most of the world terminal operator, specifically in Dubai, a port authority. How do you see the role of first the port authority as should say your principal that you work for in most of the countries, but also as the port authority in Dubai, the role of merely being a landlord or extending it out to being responsible for flow, information flows, money flows, security flows within the whole port community.
yeah, because terminal operators always they are looking into an example like the business. Most of the time they are looking for the business time and like on the business time and how to increase their revenues. While the authority, an example, they are like police. This is my role. You have my rule. You have to follow it. But it's good. An example like I noticed in many, an example, port authorities around the world even they came from the terminal operation side. So now they understand more. They are not an example like kind of legal department, just like announcing the rules and announcing we can't say just their authority. No, even they are thinking on the business side. So most of these authorities, they are reporting to their governments. An example like economic departments and others. So even I remember one of the countries, the port authority is under the Ministry of Economy, which is something good really, we believe. So they are thinking in you can say on economical way, and an example how to improve the business at the same time.
We see most port authorities under departments of transportation. They're the 19th less important department, and but anchoring it within greater, macroeconomic functions within the government, and bringing in experience from actually both the terminal operator side, but also from the shipping line side. Actually knowing what goes in is probably very valuable advice for port authorities. But speaking a little bit more about DP World as a terminal operator. So that's how I view DP World. I think that's how most people view DP World. But just for the fun of it, I went into dpworld.com this morning, and it says an end-to-end supply chain provider. So it's also clear, I think, compared to the other major terminal operators, I don't think we've seen anybody invest so much into upstream activities as DP World has. Certainly, I don't believe any other traditional terminal operator has invested into feeder services and short sea operators, but also into data services and analytics, and I was about to say also moving into the space that I operate in with sea routes and other things. Can you tell us a little bit about how you see those, I'd say, upstream investments, how they support your vision for the role of a terminal operator in the future, and also where you see DP World placing itself in that scope?
In DP World, we say we are a trade enabler. So when you say trade enabler, and whoever knows DP World, he believes DP World it's only like terminal operator. So, but at the same time, you cannot say that we are only terminal operator. So under our umbrella, we have logistics, we have maritime, we have technology, we have ports and terminals. So imagine merging these four, an example like departments or an example four fields, under one umbrella. So you are going to have end-to-end logistics. So what we are looking to, an example like when we created our vision as trade enabler. So we believe that we have to support end-to-end logistics. So that's why we have all these an example solutions. We have all these an example departments, not only focusing on ports and terminals, and that's it. No, what about behind of the work? What about behind of the ports and terminals? What about the warehouses? What about an example freight forwarders? So today, an example, we have good relations with air cargos. An example, Emirates Air Cargos in Dubai. So for sure, in the future, we will have with other air cargos. So, our target is end-to-end solution.
Well, this might then seem like a loaded question. So I've been coming to terminal operator or port authority related conferences for many years, and whenever we talked about the customers of terminal operators, people say the shipping lines, and the idea that there was somebody beyond the shipping lines was often not even considered, and we often saw that conferences focusing on port technology, port operations, terminal operations were very much about the physical aspects of the pure operations, and less about the supply chain, which is why I've always been such a supporter of TOC, because this conference is called Container Supply Chain Conference, and not how do we move boxes most efficiently around the terminal. So again, very loaded question, but who are your customers? Is it the shipping lines, or is it the cargo owners, and how do you interact with cargo owners?
To be honest, I don't believe they are customers, they are partners.
Yeah, so the shipping lines are your partners.
Yeah, so we are competing with each other. So we are serving each other. So they are not our customers, no more customers, to be honest. Since we have integration, in the systems integrated, and even sharing experiences. So like we believe we are one family, and I don't know, this is what we believe, like from right pocket to the left pocket. So that's why like if the shipping lines business is going well, we are doing very good. Like we are very happy. So as I said, like we are partners. We are not, they are not our customers.
But how about how about the people that are paying for the whole party at the end? How about the cargo owners, the shippers? Do you liaise directly with them? Because I've said this for many years, and I've upset many a port authority and many a terminal operator, but a port is never a destination. Nobody says, oh, I want to go to a specific port. The cargo wants to move hinterland. There's a hinterland that needs to be serviced, and the port or terminal is I was about to say, merely a node of the supply chain. Now, shippers generally, if you ask shippers what are the 20 most important things you care about, they will say price 19 times, and then they will have something that really bothers them. It's usually reliability or service performance of ship lines, anything like that. But shippers are overwhelmingly focused on cost. So how do you help support shippers? You of course want them to move through your gateways, but what value do you think that you can create as a terminal operator, but also as an enabler of trade?
You are right, prices are very important, but at the same time, network is also more important. So an example like, if you have good network, an example in DP World, I don't know, yesterday I told you we are 88 terminals, I think maybe today 90, so our network is big. So like the network also, yes, price is very important, but sometimes why I have to select this terminal instead of this one, and this one may be like lower prices. But you know, like as I told you, we believe they are our partners. So relations plus networks very important.
Well, one of the things that, at least when we work with shippers, is their frustration with, well, many things, but many of them on the liner side. But visibility on, as soon as, I used to say, I'm an old shipping line guy myself. I'm the old school version that as soon as the box touches the ground, A, I don't know what happens to it, B, I don't care, it's somebody else's problem. And that is unfortunately the mentality of quite a few shipping lines. But that also means that for a lot of shippers, if there's some kind of disruption that happens from the ship-to-shore crane to the gate, they often feel left in the dark. So have you worked on solutions towards providing greater visibility on cargo movements within ports and terminals? Is that even an option?
Yeah, so an example inside the terminals, we are using an example today when I mentioned digital twin and AI technologies. Yes, an example like at the same time, those shipping lines could use our port community systems to see, you can say, track and trace their, you can say, containers or their goods. But the challenge was previously like when you can say the cargo was missing. So previously, you can say like satellite companies, like they were limited. I think Thuraya and Marsat, only 3-4 terminal satellite operators. But today, like in the market, I think hundreds of satellite operators. By using these technologies, I mean satellite communications, I think this will improve 100%.
And building a little bit on that, on the relationship between the terminal operator and the shipping lines. We've just been through a very traumatic pandemic period. In the aftermath, there's a lot of discussion about the somewhat frayed relationships between shippers and shipping lines. But we didn't hear much about the relationships between shipping lines and terminal operators. In all this disruption, the terminal operators were I wouldn't say neglected, but slightly overlooked in the frustrations of the pandemic. How do you feel that those relationships, you refer to the shipping lines as your partners? Traditionally, I've heard historically terminal operators use slightly more colourful words about the shipping lines at times. How do you think that's developing? Well, especially because one, we know the chance become, as the industry's become so much more focused around data, there's also a lot of siloing and gatekeeping. How do you feel about the ability of shipping lines to share information, data flows through you, keep you abreast on a simple thing like, is the vessel going to be in my port on time? Do I need to keep the terminal window? Is that improving? Has it been improving over the last 5 years? And was the pandemic a bit of a stress test of that relationship?
I don't know. I believe pandemic was good lesson for this industry. So during the pandemic, most of the people, or you can say the companies, decided to automate their processes, integrate with even their you can say competitors, because something they have to do. So even sharing data. So some of an example like terminal operators and shipping lines, they invested a lot in you can say blockchain, etc. Yes, it's not going very well and like going slow, but it's moving compared with other industries. Sharing knowledge, as I mentioned, like having data, you can say like data is the gold, or is a gold in this industry. So sharing the data, using AI, and monitoring by using AI and sharing data, you can monitor an example like your goods, your containers, and an example like increase even your productivity. Similar what we did in example in several areas. Instead of an example like even hiring new people, we have like many solutions, many areas. An example like could be driven by AI technologies. So I think you are very well aware about Rotterdam terminal and how it's autonomous. And in Jebel Ali, an example, this is a very good example. Girls are sitting in the control room and drinking tea, so they are running 2-3 cranes at the same time, instead of somebody on top. So, as I said, like pandemic was good lesson for us, to be honest.
Yeah, and do you feel there was more values learned about how you mentioned yourself the increasing acceptance of working remote, but and also remote being both working from home, but literally remote off the cranes. What other things do you think, not just necessarily the people who work with terminal operators as a whole, because we did really stress test the system, and certainly the most of the congestion that we saw was on the US West Coast, and there's a lot of storied history for why that was the challenge area that soaked up all the capacity. But do you think we are, not that we expect another pandemic, but we might see other major supply chain disruptions in the future? What do you think the lessons have been for terminal operators and how to help this? Because one of the big challenges was clearing out MTs, clearing out and getting the boxes through. When in an industry where we had no pressure, we had no significant demand in 10 years, and suddenly it all exploded over 2 years. How would we learn that on the more operational side of things?
Yeah, I believe in the future all those like business, they will sit on one table and they will decide to share their data just to improve their business. So otherwise, everybody believes his data, you can say his money or his revenue. But at the end, they have to sit and share their knowledge and share their data. This industry, by the way, is a small industry, so I think most of you met each other. There's one guy, I met him maybe 3 years ago. So he was in a different company, 2 years ago, different company, and today he told me he's in a different company. So knowledge sharing and the data sharing, this an example, let's say worldwide this industry.
You mentioned yourself about sustainability. I think there's little doubt that we as an industry need to transition away from traditional fuels. Now, I've been very critical about the very lofty goals often made in this industry, but it's clear, as an industry, we for 40 years we were the least worst alternative. And that was our defense. Everything else is much dirtier than we are, so we don't really need to do much. That doesn't work anymore. And the big polluter, whatever metric you look at it, is the ocean leg of it. It's not the terminals themselves that are really the key impact on it. So, what do you think can be the role of both viewing from the DP World as a terminal operator, but also DP World as one of the very large port authorities as well? How do we support this transition? Because if we don't do it ourselves, the regulators will push it down our heads. And the big challenge is, I think that most people agree right now, is a supply and demand issue. There's no supply of real alternative fuels because there's no demand, and there won't be built new vessels that can demand it before there's some kind of supply. But we've handled problems like this before in the industry. Not to this scale, but remember before the pandemic, what were we all panicking about? IMO 2020 was going to end the industry. We forgot completely about it. It just went under the radar because of the pandemic. So we do have the ability to handle these big challenges, but how do you think? Do you think terminal operators can be part of the process of helping the shipping lines transition? And I mean, supporting infrastructure. We're going to need tanks. We're going for new fuels, and a lot of the area in the key is taken up by terminal operators. Or should that be relegated to the authority or port authorities only?
Yeah, so the biggest challenge is today, an example is the fuel. So, like, could we reduce it like 100%? Impossible. No way. So, but I can, an example like reduce the movements of these trucks by using the technology. So that's why I mentioned an example like Busan terminal and Batangas here in Asia. So the main reason, an example like of these technologies to reduce the movements, you can say they are. So at the same time, with our partners in Box Bay, so also an example like in Box Bay, we are using today solar. Yesterday I gave you another example like Middle East. We have we could use the solar all the year, but it's not going well because many reasons, to be honest, not related to the authorities. Many reasons. One of the main reasons is the cost of the solar itself, the batteries. So this one of the main reasons, especially an example like there in Middle East, fuel is cheaper compared with other countries. But yes, sometimes like if you think like environmentally, yes, you have to do it. But should sometimes come from the authority at the same time, like not only the terminal operators. Terminal operators, they are more than happy to save the cost, to be honest with you. But at the same time, like I believe like this is the role of the authorities.
I just want to say I'd very much like to open up the floor. I'll try my best to keep my eye out for any hands. So do please, if you have any questions to Dr. Rama, please do raise your hand. You mentioned before that a lot of your focus is on utilizing new technologies. Now, it's no secret I've been very critical of the buzzwords in the past. Now, I'm usually just very critical on the liner side of things. That when we suddenly had some blockchain container shipping and nobody really could figure out what that meant, that was a bit of a challenge. But what I've been critical about just saying buzzwords without a clear plan for where's the value generation, where's the implementation. But I always felt that on the operational side, there's endless opportunities for both automation, but also AI. AI is the new blockchain buzzword right now. Everybody's talking about AI because we've got ChatGPT and things moving. But could you give some examples of where you've actually leveraged some of these new technologies in either improving terminal operations efficiency or safety or other key aspects?
Yeah, so an example like for the AI is example. AI, to be honest, is totally different than blockchain. So blockchain is mostly sharing the data, but AI, an example like it's, you can say machine learning. artificial intelligence at the same time. So AI, the system is the decision maker. So an example like in yard planning, DP world, we started using the AI instead. An example like of those planners and etc. So the system is deciding like which container, which boxes. At the same time, also like for the handling, like we are using AI. An example, auto gate system, which already implemented in Batangas, and we are going to implement it in several areas. Also, we are using AI technologies. So you can say AI, it's unlimited technology. We can use it everywhere. So many people, they ask me, okay, like, we'll reduce the manforce. I don't believe it will reduce the manforces. And like, but the AI, you can say, like, increase our productivity. So very simple example, like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, one guy, he told me, like, they called him from the school because the teacher was surprised how his sons, like, example, like, answered these all questions in the exams and like with many details. Then they knew that, like, he was using ChatGPT, and the teacher is not aware about that ChatGPT. So the new generation, yes. So like the new generation, an example, like ready to adopt this technology. Instead, an example like of the old generation, which some of them, they are still believing on pen and paper. Back to pen and paper, I think I gave one of the examples. One of the areas they were using pen and paper, by the way. So the CEO decided to bring the technology. So he automated everything, and he noticed the efficiency and productivity drop. He shocked. Why? Then he noticed the team, they are using the system at the same time they are using pen and paper. So it became double work. So he asked the team, why are you still using pen and papers? They said, imagine the system is done. So this mentality should be changed and will be changed for sure. Yeah. So imagine you are using your mobile and at the same time you are using pen and paper to set numbers.
Yeah. Well, in an industry that is so traditionally very physical in nature, I think there is a natural resistance or maybe reluctance to move into, you know, newer technologies. I often joke, again, my experiences won't the line aside, but I've always jokingly said that if you want to know where we are technologically speaking as an industry next year, it's very simple. Where was every other industry 15 years ago? That's us next year. And how do you see that as a key driver? Is that what you're focusing on in your recruitment? I'm not saying just hire the kids right out of high school, but and also how do you prioritize technology adoption within your management ranks?
Yeah, so an example, like if you asked me this question 5 years ago, it was totally different, to be honest. This industry 5 years ago, they were not ready, it was not ready to adopt new technologies. But now you will notice an example, like all of them, they are, you can say, hungry to use the AI, blockchain. The biggest investment in blockchain was in shipping line and you can say terminals industry, compared with other example areas. So next 5 years, I believe, or next years or coming years, you know, the technology will be that will drive this industry. For sure, you know, like will be like people, they are driving these solutions, but I think it will be driven by the technology because, to be honest, the speed, the time is money. So like they want to speed the productivity and like efficiency.
Do you see the opportunities for you maybe working? You mentioned yourself, DP World, it's 88 this morning, maybe we're looking to talk now, it's 90 terminals. Because of your growing reach and And you mentioned yourself that one of the things that you feel is that you bring as a strength is the network, that you are pretty much all over the world. One of the big challenges in this industry, from the shipping line perspective, in terms of pure operation and storage coordination. So how do you actually get all the boxes to fit on the vessel, and how do you take them off most efficiently, and also considering you don't want to do re-stoves because you're stopping off in Jebel Ali on your way to Europe, but you've got some Middle East boxes below, you take the Europe boxes out, put milling in them. Now, there's certainly a huge opportunity for AI to support storage coordination, but is there an even greater advantage of saying, okay, this is something we don't want each shipping line to come up with it. The shipping lines have challenges in sharing technology, both competitive-wise, but also legally. Is there a role for terminal operators to help with that challenge?
So inside the terminals, we don't have any issues, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know, the problem is outside of the terminals. For example, the governments of some countries, difficult, to be honest. So, for example, the system which is working in Asia maybe won't be allowed in America.
Yeah. And do you see a greater? There's certainly some, shall we say, I don't want to get into politics now, but there are certainly some frictions that have come out of the pandemic, but also some longer-term trade frictions. Do you see that, because you need to deal with governments all over the world, is this becoming an increasing problem that you have, because you have wide networks and you deal with governments and there may be reluctance to communicate and coordinate on these things?
No, I don't think it's becoming better, to be honest.
Yeah.
Compared with before. But
Irene, I see you. Can we get a microphone up front, please?
I just was wondering whether you take questions as we go on, or are we going to stop at the...
Oh, no, I was trying to keep my eye out for any hands. Sorry. To Irene, if you're front. Lovely. Thank you, Irene.
Thank you so much. My name is Irene Roseberg. I'm a program director at the Copenhagen Business School, where I like to believe that I'm grooming the next generation of CEOs for the maritime industry. Any question, of course, which is related to containers, and of course, with Alan on the stage, I'm sure that I get the very right answers. But a couple of things that I just noticed during the conversations that you had is the human element. You, sir, mentioned the human element, the development of the skills, as one of the main challenges. I've been in this business, I've worked my entire professional life for the maritime industry. And everywhere I go today, the shipping lines, the ports, every segment of this industry is talking about the lack of skills. And what do you do in order to make sure that you have the right skill sets for people who are working at your terminals, at your shipping lines today? Because honestly, when you look at the regulations, when you look at the digitalization, when you look at the decarbonizations, we still need a kind of talent which is not really always there. And you cannot really put the horse behind the carriage. You cannot bring the regulations and then say, okay, people are going to be learning how they're going to be doing things as we go along. How do you really remedy that problem? How do you face that challenge, the skills?
To be honest,
let's be honest, please.
This challenge is like a global challenge. Not only like an example like DP World or terminal operators. So I totally agree with you. Like an example, we are facing this challenge. Sometimes hiring like people, we are taking 6 months to find the right talent, by the way. So that's why also I mentioned one guy I met him 3 years ago. So he's moving because finding talents is very challenging. But I believe the next generation, by using the technology, this is what I believe, to be honest, will be easier compared with the previous generation. I don't know if you agree. I'm not.
I'm not looking at the AI. I think AI has been really overrated. The way they talk about AI answers all the questions. I'm in the university business, and I've tried to use the AI to see whether they can. It's very. You have to be very specific about something to get something which is close to reality. So I think that people are pinning a lot of importance to this AI situation. It's not really as that. I have another question, which I'd like to ask you. If I may?
It's okay.
I'm coming from Denmark, of course, and of course this is the cathedral of the container shipping, as Alan will confirm that. We know that we went left, right, and center. We ordered a lot of vessels, mega vessels. After the Emma class, there were other vessels, and then of course one of the challenges for the ports was to have the right infrastructure to host these vessels. Either you go and spend everything you have to improve your infrastructure, or you end up saying that, okay, I'm a second-class port, I cannot host the Mars Majestic, for example, at my port. But then later things changed, and of course the flow of the containers changed. I mean, the market went down, and of course Alan knows very well what we are talking about. And at some point, there were lesser vessels calling at the terminals, but bigger vessels. That means you will get a lot more containers at the same time. And how has that been a problem? Has that been a challenge for you? Because then you have to have the hinterland connections, you have to have the storage connections, you have to have all that. Has that been a problem? I mean, perhaps not for you as a very large port, but do you see that as a problem for other ports?
Yeah, it's a big problem, to be honest.
And how are you going to solve it, of course?
Yes, the biggest challenge, an example, really good question. The biggest challenge this for your information, most of the, you can say, of the terminal operators, they are not giving the priority for the infrastructure. When we say priority for the infrastructure, I mean because I'm talking on the technology side. So most of the terminal sites, we noticed there are still some areas they are using 2G and 3G. While, an example, like some areas still they are 5G network. So the speed of the internet, etc. So as I said, the challenge is, an example, the terminal operators still they don't believe, an example, investing on the technology side, the infrastructure technology. Yes, some areas still they are using old Wi-Fi. And some areas they are blaming the terminal operators for the systems. They are not working because their Wi-Fi, or you can say because there's no network in the terminal itself. So that's why ports authority should take really serious action on that. An example, one of the terminals, I remember, they were blaming our terminal operating system. What was the reason? Because they don't have Wi-Fi network maybe for 6 hours. But okay, why there's no Wi-Fi network? Because there's no internet. So the telecom operator was down for 6 hours. So they were blaming the terminal operator that your operation is not running. Similar, somebody is blaming Google why he didn't pay for the internet. So this challenge, an example we are facing. Yes, as I mentioned, this business is an example around the world. Some countries are advanced, some countries not advanced. But I'll give you a very simple example, one of our terminals in Barbara, which is Somaliland. Their network is one of the best networks we have. It's in Somaliland. Yeah, but it doesn't mean they have a very good infrastructure. No, because the terminal operator is close to that terminal. Not terminal operator, the telecom operator. So that's why they give priority for our terminal. And at the same time, they don't have proxy, by the way. So the internet speed is good. While some, you can say advanced countries, because of the governance, so they blocked and they have a lot of proxies. So, once a while they are maintaining their network. So the network is down for 2 hours. You don't know, an example, what is the issue after maybe 3 hours. We are fine. Come on, the network was down. So yes, this challenge is a global challenge. It's not under our hands.
But there is not only the talent, it's also the policies.
Yeah, policies.
The policies also have to be improved, because
yes.
If I may have...
So that's why I said
if I can just continue
yeah.
the policies, those were the policies.
Sorry, I mean, I don't think anybody can hear you. Got the microphone's coming there.
It's not only the IT, it's also the policies. I mean, I was speaking at the Danish Parliament a few months ago in connection with the safe transportation of the staple food in connection with the Ukraine war. A bunch of people sitting in this room were politicians. And then you ask them that why now we are trying to carry wheat or staple food from Ukraine through Romania through a river, right? We have to do it on a barge because that river cannot take a container ship. And there's like 800 containers on a barge. So you can see how slowly we are trying to move that. All these containers are sealed by EU on one side of Romania to go to the other side. But each container takes like about 5 days because every Tom and Dick and Harry has to fill in a form, stamp a form, write something before this container gets from one side to the other side of Romania so people can get some food. So this is, and then you turn to these people and say that, well, you are the policy makers, why don't you change this? Why don't you let this go through? This has actually been sealed already by the EU. Or why don't you put some measures in place where there's some sort of a, this can be electronically done, and the problem is that those who are making policies, policymakers, are very foreign to the commercial side of the work that we are doing. They don't know commerce. All they care about is that to be re-elected in 4 years or whatever years it is. So that's one of the big problems. The policymakers are the ones who have to improve the IT, the technology, so that everything would be a very good flow. And with that, is that our policymakers who are going to make a decision, or is it the port authorities who make that decision?
No, not port authorities. An example like port authorities, they are working closely with, an example, politics and the terminal operators. So working together, because this challenge is like international challenge. So they have to work together, and one of the examples, an example in Africa, I think the movement from one of the countries to other country was taken to 3 weeks. After an example, sitting together, now it's taking, I think, last time I knew maybe 2 days, 3 days. All the paperwork. Yeah, previously. So now they integrated their systems, so they are doing very good.
Thank you very much, Alan. I'm sorry.
No worries. I was about to say, well, we have to deal with the challenge of talent. Of course, one of the options would be to partner with the Blue MBA to find the right talent. But thank you very much, Dr. Rahman, for your time. Could you please give a warm welcome to